Good evening, everyone. And after a 2-week hiatus, we're back for Division 1 action here at Zoom Racing League. I'm your host, Buffalo Trace, and tonight we're live in Portugal, Portimao, for round 3. It's a track, man, we've seen 3 races. There's a ton of elevation changes, there's a ton of challenging quarters, very tricky braking points, very tricky throttle input. And tonight we're coming to you with a full qualification section. 15 turns, 9 to the right, and 6 to the left. And as always, I'm here with my co-host, John Ranger. John, we've had a lot of news over here the past couple weeks, right? Not to mention the action that we're kind of expecting on track. I want to hand it over to you. What's going on, and what are you expecting on track today?
So there's a tight battle up there in P1 and P2. Ferrari's closing game up tight in P3. Williams in P4 doing pretty, actually exceptional. I think one of the bigger surprises so far this season is seeing Mercedes. Mercedes is sitting dead last in P10 with only 16 points. That's a team that's going to be looking to have a much better race, especially starting on this third week of this 12-round season we're having. They got to get things going as soon as possible. Bringing you to the drivers' standings. Hudson Poole taking the win in Abu Dhabi sits him in P1 at 70 points, with Jeffrey Lawler being behind him at 63. Now, Jeffrey Lawler is not racing tonight. He's being replaced by the one and only Cody Lawrence in Ferrari. So, kind of being replaced by a guy almost as fast as him, if not even faster.
Oh, sure.
Depending on the track. So that's not to be that's not non-negligible. That's for sure. Aston Martin P3, P4, Aaron Allmeyer, Mike Simboler, and Kyle Evans rounds off your top 5. But the bigger story this season thus far, we were talking a lot about him during the Brazil Grand Prix, and he held up to Hudson Poole very closely around 2 as well. Actually, he had won. If I'm not mistaken, he had won the race in Abu Dhabi officially, but got banned following suspension for for using cheating programs, I believe, on his game. So that is the end of AJ Jackson in ZRL.
Yeah, that was interesting. You know, the telemetry was a little bit funky. The moderators got together and kind of evaluated. I know it was a multi-week process. It was something where a lot of evidence was gathered and it wasn't taken lightly. But you know, for what it's worth, I think for the benefit of the entire league, it was decided that better that AJ not kind of race with us anymore. So really interesting turn of events. Now in the Williams second seat, I'm on here with, I believe his name is Martin Chapers, if
Yep.
I'm pronouncing that right. So I'm on with Martin. He was on his first heater and then spun out coming out of turn 4, which is really tricky, right? That's that uphill right-hander where you got to make sure you get a good exit there. So perhaps a little bit of nerves, but we'll see. His first race here with ZRL. We're on with Luca. Luca's got a 1:18.3. He sets the first heater as we see guys starting to come around. Now, full quali session, John. So we're going to see guys on intermediate tires, guys
Yep.
on medium tires, right? Maybe exploring if they can get to round 2 on something like a medium. But certainly, look, this is a 15-minute session. There's a lot of time to go out. I think they're just kind of getting the feel of the track. As they get their first heaters in. Eric Perez on provisional, I shouldn't say provisional pole, but he's currently in P1 with a 1:18.1.
Yeah, Luca Marodias, we hadn't seen him during the last race in Abu Dhabi, so he's missed out a little bit on points. I was talking about Mercedes needing them points for this race, so just a little bit of push on him. He's a newer kind of driver and didn't finish in Brazil and didn't start in Abu Dhabi, so he still have to. He's a guy that came in with a decent reputation. If he wants to keep it, he's gonna have to do decent tonight.
Yeah, he did. We're on with Martin again. He may have invalidated his second heater, although that may be his in lap. Let's hop in with Joaquin Torres in the McLaren. Oh, actually, hold on. Joaquin just had his first lap. He's got a P3. Guac with a 1:19.0 in the medium tires. As Eric Carvalho puts up the provisional P1 in the Alfa Romeo. Era wasn't around last week, right? So he rarely misses races. There was one that, look, we were able to organize a reserve in front, but Era's back. This is a good track for him. I got a lot invested in this race from the Alfa Romeo side. Really excited to see what they can do today.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alfa Romeo with Marc-Olivier Bastien era could be potentially They could have a lot of really good performance here. These guys are two drivers that are very solid on track. Sometimes just have to be maybe stay away from some accidents, some events on track.
Mm,
Just they can't seem to be always caught up in a little something, and that tends to harm the
yes.
race and or throw them off pace or something. But if pure pace alone, those are two drivers who are easily top 10 in Division One, and being top 10 in Division One is no easy feature.
Yeah, it really isn't. We're extremely excited about our D1 lineup. It's probably the strongest out of the four lineups that we have. So let's hop in with Peter Giordano. He's on his outlap right now. So Peter, let me take a look at those driver standings again. Yeah, Peter has missed the first two races. He was out of the country. So he's back now. Eruption actually filled in quite nicely for Peter. I think he had some good performances, some recovery drives in there. It was fun watching Eruption kind of fight here with the D1 guys. But I'm interested to see. So this is Peter's first race of season 6, right? The Ferrari team is loaded. I mean,
Yeah.
so now he's racing alongside Cody, right? It's Jeffrey Lawler's turn to miss one, but this team is stacked. I don't know how Peter does around Portimao, um, but look, he's had a lot of time to practice this track since he knew he was kind of missing the first two. So we'll see how he fares.
Yeah, Peter as a team principal, maybe compared to Matheus Binotto, he's built his team in a very solid fashion. All around, he's got guys that are there with him to help with setups, and Cody's a very good guy that works on setups as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's fast on the track, but off track, he's really great asset to the team, and I wouldn't be surprised for him being a reserve for Ferrari if he maybe worked in the background with the drivers and help them make their setups and such. Because right now Ferrari across all divisions are performing really well.
They are as he comes up to turn 7 here, probably the most challenging quarter on the track. He stays in 5th gear. They got high gears, high revs here as he comes into this fast left-hander. You get a lot of traction here out of the hairpin in turn 5 too, taking that turn in 4th gear. This is a tricky one, right? Taking a late apex, trying to carry as much speed as he can. Sector 2 is a little bit challenging too. You can carry a lot of speed here as you begin Sector 3, and then there's that wide hairpin where you try to carry as much speed. If this exit doesn't go well, I mean, that's where you can lose so much time here coming out here and the front stretch. And it's the best passing opportunity that we're going to see on the track so far tonight. DRS button on, Peter Giordano with a 117.9. It's safe to say that's probably the first proper heater of the session.
Yeah, we noticed a lot of drivers coming out in Q1 early on the intermediate tires. They probably expected nearly all of the Division 1 guys to do their fast lap on intermediates and figured they'd battle it out from there, but now everybody's switching to the soft, so they're going to be using one of those soft sets, and that's going to be the way it is. I think there's only Jason Pelter on the strats now that's on intermediates, and same for Carl Behrens and Cody Lawrence on the mediums. I think Cody might be a guy who could, stay top 15 um, with those medium tires, given his pure pace. We'll see how he can fare with that.
Yeah, not with a 120.8 though. I think these guys are going to get into the 118s,
Yeah.
maybe mid to high 17s throughout the entirety of the Q1 session. We'll see. I mean, we may even see mid to low 117s in later sessions, depending as Cam Bourne sets provisional P1 with a 117.7 in the Alpine. You're just talking about how the Alpine, Jason Pelter and his team could use a solid performance. Well, there you go. That's a quick lap.
Yeah, most definitely. And Alpine is a bit of a hit or miss. They're still there in the mid pack in the constructors championship so far. Jason Pelter's been carrying a little bit compared to Cam Bourne. Cam Bourne's just getting his just getting himself settled in Division 1, but he's gonna have to perform a little bit better there. We've got with Williams, AlphaTauri, and Alfa Romeo being in positions 4, 5, and 6. It's a little bit surprising seeing teams like Alpine, like McLaren, like Mercedes being in the bottom 4. So it's a bit of a switch around early in the season. Obviously, these things could be very different near the end of the season, though.
Now, I think it's going to come down to consistency too. Who could show for the most? Because these guys are so close, right? I feel like on any given day, we can have different guys. As Cal, right? His first season in D1 just sent 117.6. He jumped 2 divisions,
Yeah.
right? You know, this could just be anyone's. As Chase Wilson now, the Alpha Tauris at the top of the
Wow.
leaderboard, separated by 2 hundredths of a second. They're looking good as well. Let's hop in with Chase Wilson here. As he enters his cooldown lap, see if we can find someone on a heater. We'll hop in with Eric Perez, who looks like he may have about 200ths in the tank in that Williams as he approaches the meat and potatoes of Sector 2. This turn's so tricky. Marc-Louis Bastien, provisional P1 with a
Look at that.
117.6. A lot of exit speed coming there. Takes it wide. Full throttle all here. We'll see what type of apex he takes here. You can cut that curb, but don't hit. Oh, he hit the sausage a little bit, right? Those yellow sausage curbs here in Portimao. I mean, if you hit them at speed, you're going to go flying.
Most definitely. Next one to cross the line is going to be Luke Locklear. He had a little bit of a moment at the top of the hill in turn 8, so that's going to put him P1.
Wow, with the moment!
Exactly 117.5, a tenth ahead of Marc-Louis Bastien.
By a tenth, and Eric Perez bails on that lap, so he's currently in P10. 6.5 minutes left in the session. Let's hop in with Aaron Altmaier, who he's got 3 seconds in on his time. Oh, that must have been a glitch with time. No, he's just starting his lap right now. My apologies. As he comes in to turn 3 and 4, he doesn't cut that curb. We see a lot of drivers cutting that curb. He's up in 3rd gear. I'm not sure if this is a heater. Oh, this might be an in-lap. My apologies.
Ken Mechanic right now is the last driver on a heater. He's coming up around turn 11, I believe. So he's on his 3rd sector right now.
Taking 3rd gear here. You can touch that curb really quick. Be careful of the yellow. That yellow curb can be nasty. We see a lot of spins coming up the hill too. Nice and tidy through turn 14. Last turn, turn 50. You can keep it here, but be careful not to scrub as much speed as you can. Is he going to bail? No. He's going to go in. Duncan Mechanic's first heater with a 118.0. Not bad. Good enough for P10. Good enough for P10. Right behind Cody Lawrence on medium tires with a 118.0. So his last lap time on mediums didn't do it. But, John, you were right. That might be good enough for top 15.
Yeah, and I'll give him an extra set of soft tires if he needs either in Q2 or Q3. So that could give him an advantageous position. And if he's out on mediums, it's because he's really confident about his soft tire pace. So that'll be something to watch for as we go further rounds into the qualifying so far.
We're on with Klinsmann now, reserving for Haas. He crosses the line with a 118.0 himself, just ahead of Cody Lawrence and Maxime Beaulieu. Good enough for P8. So Colin Edwards, part of the D2 race last night, had a lot of desync problems there, right? Unfortunate. He was running hot. Actually, I think he finished with a podium there. He may have finished with P3 after all was said and done. Currently in P8 in qualifying here. So who are we looking to send one last heater? Look at the bottom 6 drivers that need to go out again. And some surprises in there, right? Freddie usually is a pretty good qualifier. We don't see him at the bottom. And Aaron Altmaier as well.
Yeah, we're probably going to be seeing most of the drivers pitting in right now. Actually, most of them are pitting in, but I think I'm seeing a couple of them coming out again a little bit early. It's 4 minutes in the Q1, and they're going out for their last lap. So I guess they just want to get free space or free air on the track as much as possible before it gets a little bit too cluttered on this track.
Yeah.
Usually the drivers wait till the 3-minute 30 mark-ish before coming out of the pits.
Right. Not sure if Era is on a heater right now. He's got a lot of battery, actually. I think it's going up, so I don't think Era is on a heater. As my game just crashed. So if you guys can still hear me, John, you still got me.
Yep.
So John, once again, if you could help us out with a little radio action.
That's absolutely.
And
I'm going to go with the radio action as you bring back your game, sure. Confirm on stream the screen is frozen for now, but we still have audio. Something that's important to note here is, as some drivers are beginning their fast lap, Cody Lawrence, we're talking about, going being P10 on the mediums, but he's probably expecting most drivers to improve significantly on their next run. So he's going out on the soft tires. We'll see how he does with that. Next driver out so far, I believe Eric Cavallo, currently sitting P13. He's on a fast lap. Coming down to turn 5.
Bear with us, guys. We're going to switch to the interview screen too while I try to get my game back up. But John, please continue with the radio
Yep.
content.
Yeah, on board with Eric Cavallo. I've seen McLaren, I believe, just starting a fast lap as well. Not a lot of drivers on track. A lot of drivers are, I would assume, confident about their pace. There's 2 minutes 10 into Q1. And there you go. Now we just saw a pack of drivers just come out of the pits. So we're gonna see probably a sprint run on the out lap to get into be quick enough to make the fast lap. Arcavallo is currently sitting P14. His battery's practically drained. He's only been able to improve by barely anything. And that sits him P13, and he gets dropped back to P14.
Wow.
It's Freddie Rosell in P1, a 117.476 currently. The Haas driver was, I believe, P19 or P20, and he did not take the provisional pull for very long because we're P1 for giving the Q1 session. Cody Lawrence, a 117.1. So we're in Q1. We're getting so close already to the 116 times here.
We're back too. I am back online. Got back in the lobby. Saw Cody Lawrence take the 117.1. John, thanks so much for that. We'll hop on with John Ranger. Or sorry, you're John Ranger. With Jason Pelter. Currently in P14. It looks like he is on a heater. Coming into Sector 1. He takes turn 5 here. Downshift low gears here. He's in gear 2. Cal retires with the 117.6. He feels confident enough. We got 6 drivers maybe out on outlaps right now. On with Jason Pelter, the trickiest corner on the track, in my opinion. Cuts it really nicely. Can he carry as much speed up there? He does. 4th gear at the top of the hill. Carries as much speed downhill, left-hander as he can, all the way in 7th gear. He's going to take a late apex here and cut that curb perfectly. Boom. Misses the sausage curb really nicely. Jason Pelter looks like he's in a position to improve by almost 2.5 tenths. Coming into Sector 3 here. Cuts that curb really nicely. Jason Pelter continuing to use the low gears. Coming around turn 14 here, trying to carry as much speed as he can. Full throttle, 6th gear, 7th gear. Cutting that right-hand curve really nicely. Eric Carvalho retires with a 118.1. He'll be retired from the session. Jason Pelter going to cross the line. 117.7. Good for P9. The Alpines are through.
Great improvement. Great improvement. There's a couple drivers out there. A lot of drivers stayed in, and they felt pretty comfortable. So that gamble, hopefully, works for them. We see Chase Wilson, Cal Blevins retiring from their lobby. Eric Cavallo is already out of the session. Now in the danger zone, P16 to P20, is Maxime Beaulieu, who got bumped up by, I believe that was Luca Marudias, who got P9.
Yep, looks like it. Yeah, both AlphaTauris have retired. They look to be safe for now. Aaron Altmaier will be looking to improve. We're on with Duncan.
And Aaron Altmaier is going to be retiring, so that's going to be it for his session. His teammate is going to take P2. And Duncan McCamick gets P13, so that's Eric Perez. That's also eliminated.
Good enough so far. Peter Giordano on the bubble. No, Martin doesn't improve. He'll stay P18. I think that's it. I think that is the session.
Yeah, it's a first showing for this Williams driver in the replacement of AJ, and doing a little bit of eavesdropping in the D1 paddock, and maybe not in the best form to be racing, but he wants to be out there and he wants to be loyal to his team and be reliable. So he's going to be racing, but he's going to be starting P18 this race.
And look, there's so much to be said, right? I think we've talked about it throughout some of the races this week. Here in ZRL, you get points when you classify for the race. So P1 through P20, if you finish 90% of it, actually, rather, you're going to help your team out. So even if he's not 100%, the fact that he's out there trying his best for his team, I think works wonders. So and that's really all any team principal can ask for. So Cody Lawrence, Maxime Beaulieu, Carl Behrens, Freddie Rosell, and Luke Locklear round out your top 5 here in Quali. Drivers eliminated here. Let's take a quick look while we have 15 seconds. Peter Giordano in by the skin of his teeth by 0.03 of a second ahead of Eric Perez, Aaron Altmaier, Martin Chaperes, Eric Carvalho, and Joaquin Torres are eliminated in Q1. So he'll have some time to take a breather as the top 15 drivers here move to Q2.
Yeah, I went got some information from the drivers in the paddock lately, and I was told we should be having an all dry session throughout all of qualifying and during the race. We've already seen that happen during a Division One race, right, by Buffalo, where we thought it was going to be all dried, and out of the blue, it suddenly got very wet. So
I do
hopefully it stays
remember,
that
yeah.
way.
So currently it seems to be all dry. I mean, we had wet sessions, I think, throughout. D4 was mixed conditions, quali and race.
Yep, yep,
Um, D2 was mixed conditions as well, although I think it was a fully dry race for what we could do.
yep.
John, in D3, I'm not
It
recalling. Did you guys
was
have weather as well?
absolutely. It was Q2 was dry to begin with for like the first 2 minutes, and then it started raining. And during the race was the same as well. It was a dry race, and then midway about it became a rainy situation.
Cal is the first one out in the AlphaTauri, just ahead of Luca. I think that's Luca, or is that Luke? Nope,
Uh,
that's Luke Locklear, who's now
that's
ahead of
yeah.
him.
Locklear's ahead of him. Yeah, the drivers didn't waste any time to get out there and
Mm-mm.
get a lap in, so they were really eager to get out there.
Both Mercedes in, both AlphaTauris in, both Ferraris as well. Klinsman too, and the Haas rounding out nicely. So a reserve driver into Q2 in Division 1. Haas feels good about their chances there. A lot of guys on outlaps. About half the field is pitted. Right, Cam Bourne looks to have the most fresh air. He's in the back of the pack. He's got a lot of real estate there to warm up his tires. Whereas, I mean, look at the middle of the pack over there. Like the Red Bulls are kind of smack in the middle of it, right?
Yeah,
There's some traffic there. I wonder if they're going to slow down here coming in turns 14 and 15, as we're on with
yeah. A
Luke
lot of
as he's
drivers are
back in
doing
control.
that exactly.
On with Luke Locklear, made the transition to wheel this season pretty seamlessly as he goes over the yellow curve and has to save a little bit. He's invalidated his first heater, so a little broadcaster's curse there. Sorry about that, Thermo. Talking about the wheel, but a little mishap there. We're on with Cal. D1 Extraordinaire, DRS in. You see the battery on the hot lap already, so he's through Sector 1 and already down 40% battery, right? ERS can be
Yeah,
pretty challenging here to regenerate, right? As he almost invalidates there,
yeah.
coming off track a little bit, but sticking with the curb. I mean, ERS management is huge going into a race like this with one passing zone and not a lot of regeneration opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you get the chance of, being behind a driver a little bit like what we've seen in Brazil, actually, the first race of the season, if you get behind a guy and just follow him in the DRS and kind of let your battery recharge through that, that's something you could. It's a tactic you could use in over here in Portugal. The only issue is driving too closely behind a driver, in corners like turn 8 and turn 11 and dirty air could disrupt the car a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you're pushing on the limits like these guys are doing in Division 1, ooh, that can make for some tricky moments.
Yeah, let's see. Hudson Poole sets provisional pole with a 117.9. Duncan McCamick 3/10 before in the Red Bull. He's in pit P4. Lucas sets his time with a 118.1 as they're all coming in now. Chase Wilson with a 118.1. He is in P2. So as the first heaters start to come across, let's hop in with Cam Bourne, who is the last one in that first batch to come across. He's coming across turn 14 right now. That's one of the rougher curbs on there, but he does it well, not scrubbing any speed there. He's carrying a lot through there. Cam Bourne looks super quick. DRS on. Let's see. He's P4, the 118.1.
Yeah, I'm wondering if some of the drivers went out on the first lap with scrubbed softs just to get the groove in a little bit, because the I'm not sure they'll be using both tires and during Q2 and with the number of sets you have. So essentially, you have 4 sets of tires
Yep.
across 3 rounds of qualifying. So if you're confident about going to Q3, like guys we would normally see in Q3, Hudson Poole or Cody Lawrence and drivers of the like, you'd expect them to maybe wait a little bit on their first lap and just go for it. So they're probably just setting a lap with their scrub tires just in case they invalidate or something unfortunate happens. and we'll see them on fresh softs, and we'll see the track times go down. And I would not be surprised, Buffalo, to see our first 116 in Q2 already.
Yeah, that would be about a 9/10. And actually, I was going to say, kind of with track evolution, I was expecting more mid 117s here, right? So my money is, and there it is, right at 117.5 for Cody Lawrence. So that looks like maybe a fresh set for him, right? Especially because he
Yep.
delayed. I'm getting a little bit of lag on my side. I'm not sure if you are as well, but hopefully we don't have as many problems, right? I believe Cam Bourne is on an in-lap. Yep, he's in. Peter Giordano might be on a heater himself. Let's hop on board. He's coming across with a 117.8. Good enough for provisional P3 here in Q2. Oh, Freddie Rizal splitting the Ferraris. Came in a little bit under the radar. He's got a 117.8.
Yeah, so far he's been showing a lot of great pace in the Haas, and you just got to be able to keep on going. Currently, Peter Rizal is sitting P8 in the Constructors' Championship. He's tied he's tied at the 30 points with Jason Pelter. So more of a rookie driver versus a very seasoned driver. They're battling it out in the Constructors so far.
Yeah. Carl Barron's in the McLaren. I'm going to set his lap. I know Carl practiced quite a bit. I was able to get in a couple lobbies with him as we ran some trials around here. So Carl currently in Q2, looking to set his first heater. Just at a purple sector 2 as well, if I'm not mistaken there. So he could be on pace for a heater. Looks like we got a couple of them we're expecting to come across now. I think after Carl Barron's, Klinsman will be the next one. Let's see if we can get them all in a row. Carl Barron's in the 117.9, good for P5. We're on with Klinsman. See the next one across? No, he's not. It looks like it's going to be a Mercedes. No, I'm trying to find the next one on a heater. It is. It is going to be Klinsman. He apparently sets a purple sector 2. I'm not sure how accurate that is now. We'll have to see. Looking to send his first heater of Q2. Looking across turn 14 here. A little bit of a late apex. Carry as much speed as you can through it, because that's going to carry you all the way around turn 15 and down the front stretch to turn 1. DRS on. Clemson, D1 reserve, in with a P10, 118.2. Next one to come across looks like a Red Bull of Duncan McCamick. He's on a heater. Is he going to improve? Marc-Louis Bastien, provisional pole at 117.4 for the Alfa Romeo driver. Duncan McCamick improves a little bit. Not enough, though. He's currently in P12. Right? There's an Alpha Tauri coming around. That's Cal, who's starting his heater, followed by Chase Wilson, who's starting his heater. So they came out at the same time. Let's hop in with Maxime. I'm not sure if Maxime is set. Oh, he has a little moment, and he spins out coming into turn 4. Loses it a little bit on the left-hander, and he's into the gravel. So the yellow flags are covering up the time remaining here, but I'm not sure how close it's going to be, if he's going to be able to get in and out in time.
Yeah, he's going to have just enough time to do all of that. And I think that McCamick maybe took an extra lap to warm up his tires, because he's currently right now in a heater as he goes around turn 11. Oh, he loses it. I just mentioned his name and he completely loses it. Knocks down a couple of boards, almost sent his Red Bull into the wall.
Yeah, he was about a 1.5 tenths ahead of his time, too. I was on with Luke Locklear while that was going on, and he's just sent provisional P1 with a 117.3. So we're in the low 117s. So, John, you're alluding to the 116s here. Maybe in Q3. We'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised to see one happen in Q2. Some of these guys have been pushing it incredibly. Kyle Blevins gets P1. Like at the time between him and Luke Locklear, 5 thousandths of a second.
5 thousandths. Yeah, Cam Bourne has unfortunately invalidated, so he's out. Let's hop in with, is that Peter Giordano is on his out lap. Cody Lawrence looks like he's either on a cooldown or an out lap himself. He's got full batteries coming around, and Cody's going to be on another heater. See where Hudson Poole is as well. He's coming slow in here. So Hudson Poole is probably on an in lap himself after setting a P4 time of 1:17.506. Trying to find out who else is on a heater. And it may just be Cody right now.
Yeah, we're at the part right now where most drivers will be coming in or finishing up their laps and whatnot, and should be coming out of the pits again near the 3-minute 30 mark ish, maybe 3 minutes, to try to get as much track evolution as there is. So it's a bit unusual seeing Cody out here on his heater. That would make him the first one to finish his lap, and I think he's doing it purely for the sake of free air. And
Yeah,
so far, it's showing an improvement of 2/10 on his time already.
it is. Yeah, and he takes that turn really nicely to take as much curb on the right-hand side to get as wide of an apex as he can. He was up just a hair coming out of turn 14. We'll see if he can carry enough speed to improve upon his P5 time right now. Let's see, 8th gear, DRS on, and he improved by 4/10 to 1:17.1. P1 for Cody Lawrence.
It's unfortunate we don't have this driver full time in Division 1, but as a reserve for Jeffrey Lawler, nonetheless, that's some quality driving for Ferrari, putting on a show currently.
Yeah, that looks really good. So the Ferraris will probably be the first ones, like you said, to set their final times, right? We're on with Peter. Oh, is he taking another warm-up lap? It looks like he's regenerating some battery here. So I wonder if he's trying to... Oh, he lets off the throttle there. Is he coming in and going to try to come back out? Has to be. He is. Peter Giordano in the pits.
Yeah, it's going to be really tight for him. By the time they pull his car in and he loses a bit of time coming out of the pits, I think he's going to be racing really hard to maybe get out there, because he's sitting in P8 currently. Maxime Beaulieu has not done a time yet. There's a couple drivers behind him that will be able to improve their times, so he is not in a position to just sit there in the pits. He's got to go back out there and try to improve his time as much as possible.
No, yeah, someone else who's in a position that really needs to get a move on here is Maxime Beaulieu, right? He's on his outlap. No time set after the incident in turn 4 as he goes a little bit wide too, coming into turn 13. I'm just trying to get the tires warm as there's a yellow in sector 3. That looks like a Ferrari of Cody Lawrence just coming in. So here's Maxime. This will be his first heater. We'll ride along with him for a little bit. DRS on, crosses the line, and Maxime begins his first heater of the session. Almost hits that yellow curve. I mean, that was like a hair's width away. Carries a lot of speed here. 3rd gear, short shift into 4th, into turn 3, into the turn 4 left-hander. This is where he had the incident last time. He makes it stick, almost invalidates. That corner can be so tricky. You can't take a lot of that curb. He apparently sets a purple sector 1. I say that because you just never know what the color is, right? If it's actually purple or if it's not, right?
Yeah, is it his purple sector 1 or is this purple sector 1? Well, there's somebody that's surrounded in the back. Is that Marc-Olivier Bastien? Yeah, and he was not on his outlap, luckily. I think it was just slowing down. That was what triggered the yellow flags.
And we'll watch Maxime come around too at the end of sector 2.
Look at that. Yeah, he's focused. He's dialed in right now.
Really nice, carrying a lot of speed here. Short shift into 5th. Thanks to the Alpha Tower for getting out of the way. Looks really clean. Carrying as much speed as he can into 14, and this is it. This is going to be his only lap in Q2 worth of time, unless he goes around twice. Let's see what he's got. DRS on, crosses the line with a 1:17.3. That'll be enough. P4.
There you go. That's the pace of this driver right here, what we expect. That's why Joe Goron took him in Aston Martin.
Yes.
He's able to give such good heater laps, and you know, last season was his opening season with in ZRL, right? And he, you know, he's building a reputation for himself, and that's what he's able to do. He's able to get some really quick laps out there. He's a great racer as well. He's got to be a little bit more careful, you know, driving with other drivers. Sometimes some incidents here and there cost him some crucial positions, and with penalties, post race last season, so he's gonna be working on that a little bit. But
Order's getting
nonetheless,
shaken
he's a
up.
guy that's really
Here, sorry. Freddie
working out.
Rizal had P2 for a moment
Yeah.
with a 117.3. Hudson Poole with a
Wow.
117.1. He's currently in P2. Tucker McCamick now starting his heater. We'll try to hop in with whoever is coming across the line next. I think it's going to be Jason Pelter. So far, he's 2.5 tenths above his time. Currently in P3. He's on the bubble. DRS on. What's he got? P10. 117.6. And I don't know if it's going to be enough.
He's got to wish that every driver behind him does not improve.
And that's a tall task. I mean, you got Luca and Peter for sure that have a very good chance of improving. Jason Wilson improves 36 thousandths, rather. So he's at the 117.510, currently in P9. He might be on the bubble as well. As Peter doesn't improve that much, he gets 210, so he's good for P10. But it's good enough to knock out Chase Wilson, but then he just gets knocked out.
Like Klinsman.
That was Klinsman. Wow, with P8. It was. Cam Bourne coming across. It looks like he may be up a little bit. He's going to pull in there. Cam Bourne will be retired from the session. Here's Duncan McCamick getting a little bit of tow from his teammate Hudson Poole. Is it going to be enough? They set that up really nicely.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. That's
not going to work out for him.
It really does. 117.4. That's it. He's
amazing
through.
Work by the Red Bull teammates. Look at him go.
Wow, that was great. That was a clinic. Man,
I don't know if that was planned ahead of time or if that was just Hudson Poole casually going into pits and Duncan McCamick saying, hey, wait up, I'm coming in. That's a great tone. That's going to allow Duncan McCamick and Hudson Poole to get into Q3, essentially knocking out the last of the McLaren Carl Burns in P11. And Peter Giordano, look at that, P13.
Yeah,
both Alpines end up 14 and 15.
Yeah, tough Q2 for the Alpines. Peter Giordano maybe shaking off a bit of rust, right? And Carl Behrens, heartbreak. He's out by 8 thousandths of a second. That was incredible. That tow really mattered, man. I mean, that probably added a tenth, right?
Yeah,
so that
easily.
you essentially knocked out 2 drivers there.
Grand move by these drivers, and you know, look at the times. Look at the gap between these drivers.
Oh yeah, I mean you're talking about 1 through 10 separated by 3 tenths, right? It's just unreal. Yeah. And actually, 2 tenths really from 3 to 10, right? Hudson and Cody kind of in a league of their own. So Carl, Chase, Peter, Jason, and Cam Bourne eliminated in Q2. We go into the shortest quali session of the day with 10 remaining. We'll see who can take pole. Is it going to be Cody? Is it going to be Hudson, Ferrari, Red Bull, or surprise like Freddie Rizal, who's only off pace by 2 tenths? Anything can happen here in a short session, right? I mean, one mistake in one lap, and you could be out.
It's going to be crucial that these drivers have their focus at their maximum to get them as much pace as possible. So, Buff, you got $2. Who are you putting it on?
I think I'm putting it on Cody Lawrence. I think I am. I think it'd be cool to see someone like Freddie or someone like Marc-Olivier Bastien take it, right? Because they're always there. They're always P3, P4, P5.
Yeah.
But I think the consistency that we've seen from Cody when he races with us, and I think that, I mean, I did one practice lobby and he was in it. I know he did a couple more. I think he's primed for Portugal. I think it's his to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Having seen his work and also being in multiple practice lobbies, like I'm with you with Cody Lawrence, but I'm having trouble betting against Hudson Poole.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this is one of his tracks where he is feeling very dominant, and yeah, I haven't spoken to him this week. I think he could get pole position here.
Yeah, I mean, they were separated by less than a tenth. Klinsman the first one out, reserving for the Haas. Great performance so far to get into Q3 as a reserve driver. He looks really good around here. Luca in the Mercedes, following Maxime Beaulieu. So with some inside information, man, your money's on Hudson. Now he's staying in. Is he looking to get just like one good run here or what?
That's a good question. So I don't know about what strategies they're gonna go for. Could be something that he's considering. If he's feeling that confident, he might be doing that.
It's like Eric Carvalho just joined back in the lobby. So some guys that we've seen kind of leave, get some more hot laps in, come back into the lobby. So it's clean. Klinsmann is the first one out. Let's hop on board with him, see what type of lap time he can set. He comes into turn 3, uphill, staying in the high gears, 4th gear. Now this, I always find this corner so hard, not only to stay valid, but also keep as much throttle as you can pins down.
Yeah.
Right? Really wide on turn 5. It sounds like a little bit of lockup, but that could be an audio glitch. He carries a little bit of speed here. HEV battery already gone. ARS management so crucial here. If you want to go out for multiple laps, you really got to fuel for like 5 because you need the time for that ERS to regenerate. Anyway, Klinsmann, first heater here in Q3. We'll see what he's got. Purple's all around, of course. Nice view of the car there coming in turn 13. One of the most important corners on the track here is 14 because you carry all that speed through the front stretch.
The exit is so important.
Into turn 1. We'll see him cross the line. With a 117.2, very respectable. Yeah, that could be top 5. Because I think what P3 was a 117.3 in the last session. That's a really, really strong time from Klinsmann. Let's hop in with Luca. Oh, he invalidated.
Oh, so it's either track evolution or Klinsmann. I think it's a mix of both, honestly. That's a great lap from the Haas driver.
Yeah,
and
really
I want to speak about him because right now he's reserving from Division 2. This is not his normal division, and we've seen some guys do that here and there, coming back from other divisions and reserving for D1, and that's a huge step between Division 2 and Division 1. I'm not gonna lie to you about that.
Yeah, it really is. It really is a huge step.
Major Castleman's not having the beginning of the season he was wishing to have. He's only sitting there at 8 points, and Klinsmann could potentially do more than that already in a single race. We'll see how he could fare during the race.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he is either, right? I'm not sure if Major Castleman is still going to be racing us for the end of next season. I thought I heard rumblings that he could be moving on, doing something different. We'll see. So, but Klinsmann trying to do his best impression of a classic Major Castleman race. Michael Bastian coming across the line with a 117.2 provisional pole for the Alfa Romeo. 800ths ahead of Klinsmann. Really nice. Let's try to follow these drivers around. Freddie Rizzella's on his outlap. Klinsmann's coming in. That's a Merc. That might be Luca. Nope, correction. That's Luke Locklear setting his first hot lap. DRS on. The Merc driver comes to the 117.0. Wow. And he steals provisional pole from Maclivier.
Freddie's starting his fast lap now.
Freddie's doing his heater. Cal comes across with a 117.2, currently P4. Maxime with a 117.9. He may have had a moment or something there. That's not really like him. Hudson Poole coming across, and he's got a 117.9. That's also not like him. So I'm looking for Maxime, and I'm looking for Hudson to improve. Duncan McCamick starting his heater now. I wonder if we'll see a similar toe. Cody Lawrence with a 117.0. He sets for the pull. Yeah, man, these guys are so close to 116. They gotta
absolutely. Oh, they're gonna get it eventually. I just want to mention Freddie Rizal had a major moment that coming out of turn 4, pushed it a little bit too much, and his tires are completely overheated. So he's in limp hold mode right now. He's gonna have to come into pits, and he's got one shot only in Q3 now.
Yeah, he will. That'll be a really clutch lap he's got to put together. Duncan's on a heater right now. I believe he's the only one that's not on an in lap. Hudson's on an in lap. I think they're too far away to set the toe. Freddie gets out of the way nicely, clearing the way for something clean for Duncan. I'm not sure. They may set it up here. They have some time.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to set up again.
Yeah, I think so. They're going to get close enough. There's a Ferrari behind. I think that's Cody Lawrence, though, on his in lap. I think they're too far away here for the toe. It's not going to work if they were trying it. Duncan McCammack's going to cross the line. He's looking a little slow. I don't think it's going to be competitive. That's a 1:18.4.
Yeah, with or without the tow, that wouldn't have made much difference currently with that time. So they're gonna want to get out there again, and I'm just noticing, and I don't know if that could affect their time. It's getting a little bit cloudy, right? We had full sun early in the Q2 and Q1. I think the beginning of Q3 was pretty sunny. Now we're seeing the clouds coming in. It's a little bit overcast, so that tends to drop the track temperature a little bit, and you don't have the same kind of grip as when it's full sun out there.
No, you really don't, right? And so we've seen, full dry according to the weatherman here for the entire session. And these guys will probably start to come out, 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes left. Top 5 drivers separated by less than 3/10. P1 and P2
Yeah.
separated
I'm
by
about
$8,000.
$22 if it continues like this. Cody Lawrence in P1.
Yeah, so far. Although I gotta say, a 1:17.9, I think Hudson's got a lot in the tank, right? I don't think that's representative of what his pace is right now. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah. But the fact of the matter is, you gotta put the time in, right? And if you're right, and if the overcast conditions are affecting the track temperature, the conditions might not be there for 1:16s. And so I wonder if there won't be a better time to place a lap. You know what I mean? If the weather evolves.
It's it's an idea. It's very potential. It could be true. I mean, I think that the rubber's still, going on the track, and they'll be able to work it out there. But, and I think we're seeing now drivers about to come out. Yeah, Luca Marudia is
Luca,
going
the
to be
first
the first
one.
one out. Luca and Freddie, both drivers that need to put a lap in, so for sure they're going to go for it. And whether it's sunny or overcast, it's not going to stop any of these drivers from trying to get a better lap. And I think potentially we're going to see our 116 here.
Here's Luca. Not a lap set yet, so I think probably prioritizing some clean air and minimal distractions as he tries to get everything good. I'm curious to see how many laps he's fueled up for, if it's one and done, and we'll see what happens. Behind him, Freddie Rizal in the Haas, same thing, hasn't had a lap set. Maxime Beaulieu with a 1:17.9. Again, I don't think those times, 6, 7, and 8, are representative of what those drivers can do, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a 7/10 gap between Cal and Maxime, right? So whether it was a moment, or whether it was traffic, or whatever, I'm looking for essentially the bottom 5 to start fresh here, and we'll see if they can have a shootout. No one else coming out yet. Oh, there's a Red Bull.
Yeah, they're coming out really last second there, so
It'll be Hudson first.
they're really cutting it close. Look at that. Everybody just suddenly jumped out of the pits.
We'll see what Luca's hot lap is. He's coming around turn 15 here, hugging that curb, carrying as much speed as he can. Taking it wide, DRS on, and 1:18.2. 1:18.2. Hold on, that was his heater, right? I don't see the lap time set there. Or was that his out lap? And am I mistaken?
That was. Yeah, he's on his fast lap right now. Are you talking about
he's
Freddie?
on his fast lap. Now, I was talking about Luca, but I think they're on the same.
Luca.
I think they're on the same schedule. As Freddie has a little bit of a moment coming out of turn 4. That might lose him some time there.
He crashed there already once before, and yeah, indeed, he's on his fast lap right now, and maybe potentially setting up a little bit of a tow with Luke Lockley right in front of him.
Oh, good point. Okay, let's hop in.
Luke Lockley's on an out lap right now. He's not using any of his ERS, so
he is. This may be really nice. AlphaTauri gets out of the way. Really wide. Oh, almost touches the yellow sausage curve there. May have lost a little bit of time. No, they're not going to set up the tow. Oh, what? Turbo. Whoa.
What's going on?
Wow. Poor communication there from the Mercs. I wonder if that now may have just hindered Luca's one and only hot lap. He's coming across, DRS on, and he still sets a 1:17.4. Currently good enough for P6.
117.4, and Thermo with that whole front line straight being able to get that toe from him.
Yeah.
So he could be like trying to get the 116 through that.
Maxime Beaulieu improves to a 117.3. So a little bit more representative of the pace. He's currently in for P7. Everybody has set heaters so far. Let's hop in with Hudson. Let's see where he is.
Yep.
He's apparently up by about 2 thousandths here.
Just want to mention real quick, Freddie Rozel's in P3 at 117.1, despite having that moment in turn 4.
Wow.
So I don't think that overcast condition is really hindering their lap times right now.
Yeah, overcast my ass, man. I mean, Freddie could have had pole. Freddie could have had pole there if he lost enough time. We'll see with Hudson coming around turn 15. Try to carry as much speed as possible. He's currently in P9 with a 117.9. Will he improve? 117.177, good enough for P3. And that'll be his best. Alfa Romeo, Marc-Louis Bastien, up by 2/10. Is he going to break the 116s?
He does! Oh!
116.9.
What a spectacular
wow!
lap. And Luke Locklear does as well.
I was trying to hop in with the right Merc. I picked the wrong one. Luke Locklear does as well, 116.9. Wow, and Cody Lawrence is done. Does Marc-Olivier have pole locked up? Freddie's on an in-lap.
The only person that could potentially do damage here is Duncan McCamick. He's coming across the line right now, and he's got a 117.5.
Wow,
he's
so an
start
8/10 improvement. 8/10 improvement with a 117.5, still only good enough for P10. Wow.
I love Division 1 racing. We're thinking Cody Lawrence and Hudson Poole is going to go get it. I look at Kyle Blevins in P4 with AlphaTauri. Marc-Olivier Bastien, Luke Locklear are top 2, the only 2 drivers in the 116s. Spectacular qualifying.
Man, I mean, look at it. If Freddie Rozel with a 117.197, and he's P6. The pace in this division is incredible. 2 drivers in the 116s. An absolute bomb of a lap from Marc-Louis Bastien, 116.9. I love to see it. 600ths ahead of Luke Locklear.
This promises for the race, Buff. And you know what time it is?
It's time for the race.
Cracking one open.
There it is.
And we're going to have a good race.
Sunday fun day. It's time. So, Alfa Romeo on pole, Marc-Louis Bastien P1 with a 116.9. He'll line up alongside Luke Locklear in the Merc with a 116.971. Cody Lawrence, P3. Hey, man, maybe I owe you $2. I didn't have him. P3. Kyle Blevins, P4. Hudson Poole, P5 with a 117.1, followed by Freddie Rozel. Klinsman reserving P7, the D2 driver. Maxime Beaulieu, Luca Marudius, and Duncan McCamick round out your top 10. So I think we're in for a barn burner here. I mean, just in terms of raw pace, these guys are incredible.
And they're going to show it off in the race, and let's see how good they'll be at racing wheel to wheel now, because their pace is so similar, so close, and this is not a track that offers a lot of overtaking opportunities. Really curious to see how that's going to pan out.
Yeah, so as the lobby loads up here, no formation lap. So we're going to go right into it. I'll do my best here to keybind and try to hop in with someone maybe in P5. That'll be whoever was just ahead of Freddie. Might have been Maxime.
I believe that was Kyle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we'll try to hop in with Kyle Blevins. To try to get a view of the turn 1 action going in. Counter comes down. Here we go. Lights out. And away we go. And now I'm in spectator mode. Okay, here we go. Let's get in with Cal here. Broadcast mode. The Alfa Romeo gets around nicely. Thermo does as well. The Ferrari may be losing some position to the Red Bull. On the outside, it's Hudson Poole. He's trying to be up too. Let's hop on board with Cal. He's got a great view of the action too. Trying to make a move on the outside of Cody Lawrence. He doesn't make it happen. Is Cody going to make P4 stick? Pushes Cal out wide just a little bit, but they're clean. Detail, Chase Wilson up 4 spots already. Eric Carvalho up 4 spots already. Cam Board with corner cutting a little bit. It looks like there's an incident. Is it a Haas? McLaren around?
Just, Mercedes ran into the Haas, who ran into the McLaren, and there's Peter Giordano that's around too. There's a 4-car pileup in the back, and a lot of penalties being given out. Luca Maruna's got a 10-second corner cutting penalty.
Now the stewards will have a field day with all that as it evolves here. So let's hop in now. Let's look at tire strategy real quick. 2 drivers on the medium tires. Eric Carvalho already putting them to work. He is up 8 spots already, currently in P11 on the medium tires. Chases up a lot of spots as well. Now we've seen that kind of be the alternate strategy here, right? Rather than Maxime, he is up 2 spots himself, up to P6. As we get everything set here. Bomber of a first lap. But Marc-Olivier Bastien, the Alfa Romeo, currently in P1, holds the lead through the first lap. So not a lot of turn 1 action in the front. But turn 4, it seems like, for the back of the pack, resulted in a lot. So Luca is pitting.
Gonna be a change of wing, a change of tires, a 10-second penalty. He's potentially going to be the first lapped car very quickly in this race.
Yeah, he could be. Yeah, that's a lot. So we'll hop in with Cody. He's down in P4. Oh. He's down 1 spot from the start. They go a little bit cleaner down there now. Big losers so far is Klinsmann and Luca. Down a lot. Carl Barron's down 7 spots as well as Peter Giordano down 4. I'm not sure if he got caught up in it or if he just lost a little bit. He could have tried some evasive maneuvers. The Alpine up 2 spots each.
I want to mention real quick, I thought Luca would have to service 10-second penalty in the pits. Doesn't seem to be the case currently, so he's still got that 10-second going for him. You know, if there's a safety car or something that allows him to come back into this race, maybe it'll be something he'll get removed. Yeah,
we'll see. It looks like everybody is within DRS range of each other, all the way down to Carl Barron's in P18, or maybe Peter Giordano 1 spot above, as Martin Chaperes has gotten that 1-second gap. They're going to try to make these work. Fastest laps coming in. Luke Locklear, Hudson, Chase Wilson, all one after another with 121 zeros. DRS on. And now Aaron's going to start to make some moves as he witnesses a move ahead of him. Duncan McCamick on Eric Perez is going to take P9.
Chase Wilson just took a position out of Maxime Beaulieu. A great wheel-to-wheel racing there. Clean racing. Chase Wilson in P6.
Chase Wilson at P6, but he's used 70% of his battery already. Let's check in with Maxime, who is faring a little bit better on the battery front. But Chase, in order to make that move happen, almost got out of DRS range of his teammate Cal. They're all in. Duncan almost out of DRS range of Freddie Rizal. Let's hop in with Era here, because I think he's going to try to make a move on Eric Perez coming out of the main straight. His teammate, Marc-Olivier Bastien, currently in P1. Alpha's running hot, and you love to see it. Going to make those medium tires work. DRS train is now resumed all the way down to P18. Carl Barron's got back in there somehow. He made up a couple seconds in 1 lap.
Really quickly. I think it's that, I don't forget the proper name in English, but the accordion effect, if I translate from my French. You know, when some of those corners, when there's a lot of drivers packed up, you could really make up some time when the drivers in front of you are fighting for positions. And these guys are all fighting each other.
And Era got a huge exit coming out of turn 15 with a little bit of help from ERS. And look, he's got to use it now. He needs to make those moves happen early, and then he can maintain track position, hopefully, on the second stint. So he's up to P10. A little bit of a gamble. Up in the front, let's hop in with the AlphaTauris as we see them. Very respectable P5 and P6. I wonder if they're going to invert these cars because of the tire strategy.
They just might, or otherwise they're going to be racing. It all depends on what their pitting strategy is going to be.
Yeah, Maxime in danger of losing DRS from Chase Wilson ahead of him. Right, but I feel like the crossover point for the mediums comes a little bit sooner than you think, right? Because the real life around the mediums is what, maybe 14 laps here? So the crossover point could really be around lap 7 or 8. And if you think of it that way, you're halfway through your tire advantage already, now.
Marc-Olivier Bastien dumped some ERS, and he is out of DRS range from Luke Locklear.
Wow.
That puts Locklear a little bit of a vulnerable position to Hudson Poole right now.
It does. Hudson's got DRS. I don't think he's going to have a gap close enough to make the move going into turn 1. But that's clutch. And now, if Mark Levy does really have this pace in Portimao where he's better than Luke, that gap may just continue to increase. And if it increases enough, as there's some action going by with the Alphas and the Red Bulls here going into turn 4. Eric keeping it nice and clean. He's got DRS, but no battery on Duncan McCamick. He's going to try the dive bomb on the inside, and he makes it happen, but is Duncan going to have the better exit on the outside? No, he doesn't. Is it going to stick? Duncan's got the advantage here coming into this turn. Keeps it nice and tidy on the inside. Really tricky here, so just track position. A little bit of bumping, but Eric got the better exit. I think that was
look
turn
at these
8.
Guys go.
Wow, look at this battle here. A little bit of trade and paint. Very clean. No contact. And, oh, there must have been an incident. Sorry, on my screen, is there a Merc ahead? Oh, no, my goodness. Sorry, that's Luca, who's unfortunately about to be lapped. I saw a Mercedes ahead of an Alfa Romeo on the track map and thought of that. So Eric Carvalho, can he make P9 stick? He's lost DRS to Freddie Rizal, so he's going to be particularly vulnerable here. Duncan has the battery advantage. We'll see. Is there going to be enough of a gap? He can see that red light flashing.
Yeah, Duncan's made him work so hard. He's completely emptied his ERS, Eric Carvalho. Both of them as well. I mean, Duncan's on about 20% ERS currently, so that's what I was saying earlier. When you get these drivers battling, and they fought through all of Sector 2 wheel to wheel. It was spectacular. But both of these drivers now realize they lost a lot of time.
Sorry, there's a battle going on between Carl Behrens and Peter Giordano. Or sorry, no, Joaquin Torres and Peter Giordano. I'm mixing up my McLarens here. And Guac had a little bit of a moment coming out of turn 4. He saved the car, but lost some time there, and he'll try to make up a 2-second gap to Klinsmann. Era's running out of tire life to try to chew into that gap to Freddie Rizal, and he's going to have Duncan McCamick behind him at the crossover point. We'll hop in with Freddie, actually, because Freddie, currently behind Maxime, who's lost DRS to Chase Wilson on the medium compound tire. So Maxime himself will also be particularly vulnerable to Freddie. Coming across turn 15.
Oh, there's a Red Bull around.
Duncan may have had an incident.
Yeah, that's Duncan McCamick out of turn 14. He's lost it.
Well, so now Eric can rest easy as he tries to chew into the gap between Freddie and Rizal. We were on with Freddie, who still has DRS into Maxime, but he couldn't make it happen as he comes into Sector 4. So now I'm curious here. With the gap between Luckily Bastien and the lapped, or almost lapped, of Luca Marudius, as he just lets him go. You know why? Because he would have gotten DRS. That was a team move right there.
We're already seeing some of these drivers getting penalties. It's early in the race. They're pushing so far on the limits that they're getting these... Oh, was there an incident in the back?
There's another incident.
Ferrari.
A Williams and a
two
Ferrari.
Cars around.
Oh,
that's a Williams and Peter Giordano.
Peter with something there, but he had a little bit of incident. He hit the wall, front wing damage for sure. So Peter Giordano, a rough return to Division 1 racing. A little bit of an incident with the Williams there. Let's take a look at penalties, because you mentioned it. Luca has not served his 10 seconds. And you know what's interesting? He already pitted twice. He got back onto his hard tires from the start. Right? So he's essentially now on the same strategy as much of the field. Except he's already a lap behind.
Yeah. So unfortunate for him. And I spoke about this driver in the opening on the broadcast, right? It's unfortunate. This driver we thought had a lot of pace for Division 1, and I'm sure he has. But Brazil, he never finished. He didn't start last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. And he's already a lap down. He had to pit twice because he forgot to repair his wing on the first pit stop, actually. So
is that the reason? There. Did you get info from the paddock? He didn't.
I saw it. I was watching him. He went in, came out way too quickly. You know, the 10 seconds not served, or will not be served in pit situation. From what I'm seeing here, Camborne getting a 3-second penalty. He's already got a 5-second penalty as well.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Whew.
That was for corner cutting, so we don't know. We didn't
Yeah.
have eyes on that incident, right? He
Yep.
could have been pushed off track. That could be removed. But the track limit penalties already, I mean, we're not even 25% of the way through this race.
Guys, gotta be careful on track limits because we've seen it in qualifying. 0.3 of a second is worth enormous amounts in qualifying. So
Yeah.
imagine 3 seconds in a race condition. These guys are all following each other in DRS conditions. You don't want to get a 3 second penalty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's all DRS conditions. I mean, 3 seconds is 4 or 5 spots, right? And as we're talking about it, Luca unfortunately gets his first 3-second penalty.
Wow.
He's got a number of them for incidents on track. So we'll take a look at tire life. I think we're at the crossover point. I'm seeing the gap between Eric Carvalho and Freddie Rizal increase. And I think that's because the hard tires have now gotten better as Hudson almost has a little bit of a moment coming out of turn 5. Trying to stay within range of Luke Locklear, who has now fallen almost 2 full seconds behind Marc-Louis Bastien.
What a dominant beginning of the race so far for Marc-Louis Bastien. He's got nobody to race. All he's got to do is keep up his pace, play, race in a very mature way. Don't overcut anything, and he'll be able to bring it home if he continues like that.
I think so too. Someone who's been somewhat quiet here so far in the race is Cody Lawrence, right? Someone that I had money on for pole. Not used to really seeing him in P4. He could be biding his time, right? Let's check out the battery situation as he uses some of it here to get up to the back of Hudson Poole. But he's got 62. Hudson's got 62. But Luke and Marc-Louis Bastien both with 28, right? So maybe that's the difference there in pace, is they could just be biding their time.
I think that's what they're doing. They're trying to buy their time to Luke Locklear, but Locklear for a second there, he was beyond the DRS point on Hudson Poole, so Hudson's not clearly gaining on him, although Locklear's been really using up his ERS so far, so we'll see what happens with that further on. These guys, and another thing we'll have to discuss sooner or later on the hard tires, who's going to start the undercutting party, and at what lap?
Yeah, it's going to start soon. I'm with Eric Perez, who's putting a lot of pressure on the Alpine of Cam Bourne. He's looking particularly quick coming out of turn 5. No battery, though. Let's check in with Cam Bourne. Right? He's got not a lot of battery either. So Eric putting a lot of pressure. Cam out of DRS range of Aaron Altmaier. Probably the closest battle on the grid so far. Or at least currently. That I can see. Chase Wilson looking very good in that Alpha Tauri. Very speedy. Sticking P6. The only other medium tire runner, as Hudson Poole sets a fastest lap of 120.2, is Eric Carvalho, who, well, that gap was at 1.9 seconds. Now it's at 1.5. So a little bit better, and it's hard to close that gap, right? Because Freddie has DRS on Maxime, and Era doesn't have DRS. So he's still looking particularly pacey.
Well, Sector 1 incident. I think it's Kyle Blevins that's just lost it.
Oh, no. It is. He just gets passed by Era, who we were on board with. Lost it a little bit, but... So we recovered nicely, right? Recovered nicely. He really didn't lose that much time. Maybe 4 or 5 seconds for an incident. So saved it, right? Because some of these corners are so high speed.
Yeah.
If you don't save it, you're flying in a wall and your race is over.
And I'm sure he's very happy we're not racing in this closed CD circuit, as he would have been put in the wall here. So, yeah, a moment there, and he loses a couple positions. But if there's somebody to catch up and get those positions back, it's Kyle Blevins.
Yeah, I want to hop in with Hudson Poole because he's about half a second behind Thermo, behind Luke Locklear. Oh, he almost has a moment coming out of turn 14. Did you see that? Wow, he lost it a little bit, and now he lost about 0.4 of a second. Now he's got to spend battery to make sure he stays within DRS range. Oof.
Wow. And he was on attack mode on Luke Locklear earlier this lap. He cut down about half a second's time on Luke Locklear ahead of him.
Now I'm on with Jason Pelter. A little bit of action in the back of the grid. They're both out of battery. It's Jason Pelter versus Joaquin Torres. Jason has the DRS. They'll run on the inside. And I think he's got enough to make it stick into turn 1. Jason Pelter takes P16.
Completely out of battery at this point.
Yeah, so there's going to be a DRS zone now that Joaquin Torres can try to come back, but he doesn't get a good of an exit as Jason Pelter, and there's just not enough runway here in that DRS zone number 2 to make it happen. Oh, and he goes to the back of him, and he spins Jason Pelter. I don't know if it was a lockup or a little bit of a late braking, but Guac hit the back of Jason Pelter and spun him out. So Jason loses the position and about 1.2 seconds. Tough break after some clean racing.
Wow. Unfortunate, and you know what? I think as a driver, you know you're back, you know, outbrake yourself, and you're in the back of a fellow driver there. You could have slowed down and let him by, but I think this will show up in the tickets and the stories. I'll have to deal with it later.
Yeah, I think it will, and you know, I don't think it was anything too aggressive, but for sure it's going to have an impact on Jason's race. So we're on with Cody. Cody's still got half battery remaining. Hudson Poole has closed the gap now even more to Luke Locklear after his incident a couple laps ago. 12 laps so far under our belts. We could start to see maybe Chase or Era think about coming in, right? Era's gap is now 2 seconds to Freddie, so that's increased. We've definitely hit the crossover point. Chase Wilson is 3 full seconds behind Cody Lawrence in the Ferrari.
Yeah, you could certainly start feeling it for those medium tire runners. They might go for lap 14 or lap 15, I would guess. There's a portion of the medium tires that, you know, you still feel kind of good. You still have control over them, but there's a very specific point, roughly around the 60%, where having gone there myself in my race in Division 3, they just don't do anything anymore, and it becomes very difficult.
Right.
I want to talk real quickly about Hudson Poole and Cody Lawrence. Hudson Poole wants to be on an attack move on Luke Locklear. He wants that position. But remember, I've spoken earlier, if you're going to fight a driver, somebody behind you is just waiting for that opportunity to do that overtake. And that's what Cody's doing. He's harvesting his ERS. He's just using it to keep up in pace with Hudson and Luke Locklear. He's waiting for that opportunity that Hudson's going to go on the attack, go side by side with Luke Locklear. He has a moment. Locklear, Hudson Poole's really pushing it there. So it's a really difficult situation if you're Hudson Poole right now.
Yeah, Eric
gotta
choose
your
another
moment.
3-second penalty as the penalties start to stack up. But yeah, it's really tough. I like the position that Cody's in. He's got almost half his battery. Like you said, he's just using it to keep pace. And I don't know if it's a little bit of uncomfortableness with the setup, but I feel like every time I'm on board with Hudson, there's just some little like squirrely bit of action, right? And that's challenging to keep staying in attack mode while correcting for setup, while also fending off one of the fastest drivers you've ever seen race in D1. So I think Hudson's got his work cut out for him as he goes a little bit late into turn 13. And I wonder if that's going to put Cody in a position to try to make a move. He's not going to use the battery to do so.
He's just barely using a burst of ERS to keep up with the top speed there. And that's all he's doing so far. I can tell you, Hudson Poole, if he's having those squirrely moments, I don't want to say too much here, but it's not. I don't think it's setup related unless he made some tweaks to it. It's really because he's pushing so hard. He's in that kind of situation right now.
Yeah, we'll see. So both medium tire runners pitting. Oh, someone just spun out.
Locklear's spun around.
Luke Locklear. We were on with Cody, and we just saw him fly. And tough break for Luke Locklear. So
there you go. The patient game paid out for Hudson Poole. The nerves got to thermal.
Yeah.
Oh, how unfortunate.
Now, as the medium tire runners came in a pit, let's switch over and look at the gaps to the leader. Thanks for the cue card, Siggy. Actually, that was a really good transition. Usually about 20-23 seconds here in Portugal, I think that you're losing on a pit stop. So, you know, Marc Levabastian could come in right now and probably find himself within P14, 13 or 14. As we keep an eye on those gaps. Back to interval real quick. Maxime has DRS on Luke Locklear, who does not have it. Oh, he does. Oh, he's being dragged along by his lapped teammate of Luca Marudius. And I wonder how long this can stay up, right? I don't know if Luke has the pace where he's just going to overtake him and Luke is going to hold him up. Or maybe Luca does have the pace and is in a position to tow him along.
He's in three. That's three corners. Like he's got to give him position now.
He
And I
did.
think that's what he's gonna do. So, yeah, he was waved the blue flags. Luca was waved the blue flags, and he had time to do so. And I think that was, at first view, I think that was respected. Might be looked over again with the stewards, but
No, it looked
if he
pretty
had
clean,
gone on
actually,
for
yeah.
multiple laps, yeah, that would have been a problem. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I think that looked pretty clean, right? So the medium tire runners, Chase Wilson and Eric Carvalho, currently in P17 and P18, right? But they are now on their second stint and the first drivers to do so. Peter Giordano and Luca Marudias had a couple pit stops in between, so their strategy is a little bit wonky right now. Freddie Rizal putting a lot of pressure on Maxime Beaulieu, who's already out of DRS range of Luke Locklear. That took maybe a lap and a half. I wonder if Freddie's going to try to put pressure or not. We see the first undercut. There it is. Hudson pulls in.
Oh wow.
Luke Locklear follows him in.
Yeah.
Maxime inherits P4.
That's a smart move by Hudson Poole there because Cody Lawrence had the advantage on him with the DRS. So Hudson Poole's gonna bite the bullet right away, and he's gonna come into the pits. It's lap 17, and now he's got to go another 16 laps with the mediums. Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot. Klinsman is in as well. He's gonna try to split it 50-50. All eyes on the leader. Eric Carvalho sets the fastest lap with a 120.1. You'll love to see it. Both Chase and Era up a position as Klinsman pits. However, Luke Locklear came out ahead of Chase. Well, actually, not that much, right? So now you're looking at tire strategy. Although, Luke on medium tires, Chase wants to get dragged along by Thermo as much as he can. Because the longer he can keep within range of his medium tire competitors, the better his tire strategy will be.
Yeah. Quick note here, already talking about it in the paddock. I could see two team principals already speaking about blue flag incident with Luca Marudias and Thermo there with Locklear. So that's going to be taken most probably by the end of the race, and they'll have to be reviewed by stewards.
Yeah,
so that
it
could
will.
Hurt Luke Locklear.
See, that's interesting, right? Because, first off, you can make the argument that Luca has close-ish pace to Thermo. You can do that. They're close. There was no one, Luca was not interfering with other drivers on track. He was not giving anyone else dirty air, as we see a score of drivers come in to pit as that strategy is starting on lap 17, right? So, I'm sure it'll be ticketed. I'm sure it'll be looked at. But it seems to me, if I'm having an opinion of it, that Mercedes made a very savvy strategic maneuver that didn't affect any other driver on track, and they made the most of the situation.
At first look, again, I'd have to review like the whole thing, but at first look, I tend to agree with you, Buffalo. I think it would have gone past that corner, which would have actually be more detrimental to Locklear than anything else.
Right.
Then that would have been a little bit too much. But it's three sector flags, and yeah, so that's gonna be looked about it because the rule does mention it's three sector flags for the blue flags.
Right,
So we'll
and they're teammates, right? So they're supposed to put themselves in positions to help each other. Anyway, the leader, Marc Levebastien, has pitted. He has started his pit strategy. Sorry, he's going to come out. Let's see where he comes out in relation to Hudson Poole, who just sets the fastest lap of 119.5, and he's out. So Marc Levebastien is ahead, but I'm not sure if he's going to be ahead enough. He's going to be fighting off Hudson a little bit. Let's check on battery, though. Having just completed his pit stop, Marc Levebastien back up to 30. And look, he's got cold tires, so he's going to try to make up some time as he can. Cody, Maxime.
Completely dumped his ERS to try to catch up to Marc Olivier there.
Yeah, he did. Let's see. It's a 2-second gap. But hey, that might, with cold tires, man, that may close to within a second before Marc Olivier's tires are warmed up. Let's see.
Oh yeah, and Marc Olivier is also going at it with his ERS, so
and he's
the top
out.
Two drivers I've been using their battery completely, but they're racing each other technically there. They're not exactly side by side, but they're racing each other not to get in DRS zone. So far, I think it's mission accomplished. For sure, Bastien right now has the warm tires now. This track does not take very long to warm up those
Yep.
tires.
Maxime is in. Cal is
Oh,
in. Oh, 5-second penalty for Cal speeding in a pit lane. That's a
5.
tough break. Eric Perez is in. As you see, most of the hard tire runners come in. The only ones left, Cody Lawrence, Cam Bourne, Carl Behrens, and Joaquin Torres. As Guac comes in right now. So the top three all have now pitted. Marc-Olivier Bastien in the effective lead of the race. Unless there's enough time, although let's take a look at the gap to the leader. There's 20 seconds now between Cody and Marc-Olivier Bastien. That's almost a pit stop.
I'm curious to see how Cody, Cam, and Carl are gonna keep on pushing with their hard tires. Lap 19 is usually the lap they'll want to be pitting.
Mm-hmm. We have a
And
battle
that could
here going on.
essentially cause an overcut in regards to Hudson Pool, Locklear, that's pitted a little bit earlier when they were trying the undercut. So it'll be really important to see where Cody Lawrence comes out of there in relation to Hudson Pool. And Cody's going to go for lap 20 there.
Yeah, so let's take a look at that again, right? So now the gap to the leader is less than 20 seconds. So they're making up the time. So Cody's strategy, I guess, has to be either stay on till softs or you got to go in soon because he's losing time. Cam Bourne comes in. We'll see what Carl does. No, Carl goes in for lap 20. I will say, though, I feel like at Portugal, man, these tires don't die. They don't. They can last a long
hard
time.
tires can go a long time. Surprisingly, the hard tires are quite effective in a long time. And what we're looking at now is a potential Cody Lawrence. Like if he pits now in lap 20, his medium tires will have 4 laps difference, and 4 laps is huge. You mentioned it earlier of that when we were in lap 4 that they were already halfway across on the crossover, and so that'll give him a great advantage near the end of the race. So we could have a really exciting finishing by the end of the race with Cody, Poole, and I think even Locklear too potentially.
Yeah, hey, that's a good point. I mean, 4 laps is essentially 25% of their lifespan, right? So you're talking about the difference between, that's significant tire wear. That's significant time. Field is pretty spread out right now. Here you go, he's in. Cody's in.
All right, we're gonna see where he comes out. Notice I did not mention Marc-Olivier Bastien. I do believe his pace is so far ahead currently that he's gonna have clean air until the end of the race.
And we'll see. We're riding along with him. Cody's pit stop is finished. It's gonna be race in. Carl is in. And you just see Marc-Olivier Bastien come in ahead of Cody Lawrence, and Cody's gonna lose that position to Hudson Poole as well.
Yeah, but
So
he's
the
lost a
overcut-
lot more time to Hudson Poole than I expected.
Yeah, he has. So not the call here. Not the call.
Not the call for now. He's gonna have 11 laps ahead of him to grind out and make up that time. And the one thing that is an advantage to Cody Lawrence is that Hudson Poole has no DRS in front of him.
Oh, there's a yellow in sector 2. I don't know. Is it a
Looks like
McLaren
Carl
around? Is it
Burns.
Carl?
Yeah, it's Carl coming out of the pits. He spun out on his hards. Or on his mediums, I should say.
Cold medium tires. Now the 2 drivers on the alternate strategy. AlphaTauri of Chase Wilson. 7 laps on his hard tires. He's got some penalties. 3 seconds to be exact. But he's up 7 spots, and he's currently in P5. Eric Carvalho, the other medium tire starter, P9, also on 7-lap old tires, and he's up 10 spots himself. So we'll see if the alternate strategy can work. He'll have his work cut out for him as he tries to fend off Aaron Altmaier and Freddie Rizal, almost within DRS range of Chase Wilson. But what Chase has working for him is Freddie's also fighting off Maxime.
I think a guy that's right now is probably trying to catch up to Cody Lawrence is Luke Locklear. He had the spin earlier.
Freddie is now right on the gearbox of Chase Wilson. And a move may be made very soon. They're both got flashing lights. Is Freddie going to make it happen? No. Ooh, he thinks about the dive bomb.
He's trying.
He does. There was late braking on
There's
Chase.
a little bit of
Chase moves to
contact
the
there.
outside. He pushed him. There's a little bit of contact, but I think that was pretty clean.
Wow.
And Freddie's got the pace. Chase might be in trouble.
Chase is not an easy client. That was great defending from him, keeping it clean there.
Oh, you almost thought he was going to concede a little bit, right? He kind of broke a little bit late, but then he went in and he really translated that into great exit speed. Yeah. But, oh, man, the traction on the younger, better tire compound is just, it's key right now for Freddie, and he's making them work.
Maxime Beaulieu is the same situation as we were talking about earlier with Cody Basset and, or should I say Locklear and Poole. Beaulieu is going to wait for that opportunity to get by Chase Wilson as well.
He's
going to be completely vulnerable right now.
Chase particularly vulnerable, and I don't really think there's anything that he can do there as he watches Freddie Rizal in the Haas take P5. Ooh, as Chase goes over that yellow sausage curve and has to correct. And that will do wonders for his battle with Maxime Beaulieu, who has to correct a little bit and lose some exit speed there, but he's going to make it up here with DRS into turn 4. I'm not sure if he's going to make a move on Chase here or he's going to bide his time, but they are fighting. Oh, and right back in it now, Cal, P8, has also joined the party. Look at all these ERS lights flashing.
Oh, my goodness. That's a great four-way battle over there.
And it's all stemming from the difference in strategy, right? And just kind of where Chase came out in regards to his medium tire counterparts. Woo. All this fighting is great for Eric Carvalho, who is trying to whittle down that 3.6 second gap while fight off Aaron Altmaier. And really, he's got to get to his turnover point, right? Because then the hards will be just as good as the mediums. So he's trying to stick it out. Cody Lawrence, consecutive fastest laps here.
Yeah.
And Chase has done a good job fending off Maxime for one more lap. He stayed within DRS range of Freddie, but Maxime is dumping ERS. He's going to make the move on the inside. It almost gets pushed left. Off track, but he makes P6 stick.
Oh, my goodness.
Both AlphaTauris now behind the Aston Martin of Maxime Beaulieu. They're on different strategies. They've not inverted the cars in the first stint. We'll see if they think about inverting. They do. That was pretty obvious there.
Yeah.
Cal now takes P7.
Chase Wilson, not only is his tires not at the optimum point right now to fight these other drivers, he's also got penalties. And what I'm noticing is that on straight line speed, he's unable to compete. He was not able to catch up to Freddie Rizal despite having DRS on him. And Maxime Beaulieu got the jump on him. So he's got high downforce for sector 2s and 3s. But that straight line speed is really killing him right now.
Yeah, it does seem like there is a bit of a setup difference too that's certainly coming into play. One thing on the AlphaTauris, man, I don't know if they could have picked a worse spot to invert the cars. Not only is Chase almost out of DRS range of his teammate Cal, but they just chopped a second into that gap between who he's fighting in P9 on the same strat, Eric Carvalho. So tough turn of events there. I wonder if Chase's pace can just keep him ahead for now, as Eric, of course, is fighting. But I guess they just wanted to get it done there.
Just want to notice something. Cody Lawrence, 2 laps ago, had 3.4 second gap on Hudson Poole. He's now just gone below the 2 second gap. He's catching up to Hudson Poole greatly right now.
He is. But for the first time this race, I think Cody has less battery than Hudson. And Michael Bastien has less than both of them. He's chilling at 11% as he tries to hang on to that 3.8 second gap for dear life. 7 laps to go.
What a dominant race by Marc-Olivier Bastien. Honestly, he stole pole position so far, and haven't spoken much about him throughout the race, but he stayed P1 the entire time, other than during the pit strategies, of course.
Yeah, he's just looked absolutely dominant, and you'll love to see it, right? But man, you're talking about Cody chipping away at Hudson Poole. That gap is going down.
And I'm also going to add one thing about Marc-Olivier Bastien, and sorry for the extra patriotism here, but I do believe if this continues as is going on, he could potentially be our first French Canadian winner in ZRL and Division One.
Wow. I didn't know that. You'll have to mention that. Oh, yeah, we'll see what happens. We're on with
Let's
Cal.
not jinx him. Let's not jinx him.
We're
Don't
on
give the
with Cal,
broadcasters curse.
who with Maxime Beaulieu is putting pressure on the Haas of Freddie Rizal, who's currently in P5.
Hudson Poole is in danger right now. Keeping an eye on P2 and P3 while you're looking over at other drivers here, but Cody Lawrence is at 1.3 seconds from Hudson.
Yeah, he's in danger, but he's been cultivating battery pretty nicely, so he's back up to 40%. Right, Cody Lawrence at 29, so about a 10% battery difference. Right, another battle going in. Let's peek on with the other Haas driver, Klinsmann, trying to put pressure on Eric Perez. Klinsmann had a massive overcut. He is 3 laps older tires than Eric Perez. So he may start to be feeling some tire wear, but he's in range, along with, behind him, Duncan McCamick, as Klinsmann went a little bit wide, and Duncan closed that gap a little bit. So Duncan could be in attack mode here. He's got a 1 lap fresher tires than Klinsmann. There's a yellow in Sector 2. Who is it? Is it Martin? It is. The Williams reserve driver. Tough day gets tougher. But a huge battle going in here for P11, 12, and 13. Duncan, I don't know if he got the exit coming out to make a push on Klinsmann, but Klinsmann should be within DRS.
Oh,
Eric
somebody...
Perez.
Freddie Rizal dropped out completely in turn 1.
No. A yellow in Sector 1. As almost contact. He ghosted. Weird. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Klinsmann he just lost some gap to Eric. That was really unfortunate. Nothing you could do there. I mean, how do you communicate when you're going to ghost? But tough break there for the Haas.
Yeah.
Cam Bourne and Duncan McCamick are both at the party now. We got a little midfield scrap.
Midfield is action-packed. I just want you to look at the gap between Hudson Poole and Cody Lawrence, how that absolutely melted.
I think that's the perfect word for it. It's melted. And not only that, Cody has seemed to have gained battery during that. Right?
This
He's
move
only
that's going to
up
happen
to
right here.
29.
He's doing it.
Is he going to dump? He is. Hudson tries to break the toe for a little bit. I don't think there's going to be enough. I think they're both dumping, and they are. No, the move is not going to happen now. Cody Lawrence had to correct there. He's going to lose a couple tenths. 4 tenths of a gap. And you know who is loving this fighting is our race leader. Keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Hudson Poole, his medium tires are already screaming at him by now. They're 12 laps old already, and he's got 4 to go. They just lose so much of their potential later on that stint, and Cody Lawrence is going to be at him all over the place.
Yeah, so, man, we were talking smack about his strategy before, but it sure is looking really good now. Cal went a little bit wide into turn 5 as he puts pressure on Maxime Beaulieu. They're on the same tire strat, but Cal, 5 tenths of a gap, still within DRS range. Eric Carvalho now up to P8 along with Chase Wilson. He's closed that gap by another 9 tenths. So the alt strategy guys now approaching that crossover point where their pace will not be too different from their medium tire counterparts. Let's hop in with Cody Lawrence now, see if he wants to make the move here. 20% battery. He's trying to line up the exit speed. He's trying to line up the slipstream. He's got DRS. There's 3 laps to go here, so I don't know if you try to harvest DRS for 3 laps and try to make a last-ditch effort or what. But, as Hudson goes a little bit wide, he hit that curb. Cody thought about making the move into turn 4, but had to correct. So another moment for Hudson Poole as Cody Lawrence is hot on his tail and will have DRS following turn 4 into turn 5. Take a look at a lot of penalties throughout the field. Kyle 8 seconds, Eric 8 seconds, Luca forgettable 19 seconds. Many drivers with track limit penalties, however, not
Freddie
the
Rizal
leaders.
lost it again.
Oh, yellow in sector 1. That's Freddie.
Yeah, that's 2 spins and 2 laps for Freddie Rizal. That's very unfortunate for him. He was having a great race.
He was. He was having a very good race. It was looking great for the Haas. Even the reserve of Klinsmann is doing very well. Currently in P11. But we're on with Cody. That gap hovering around 4/10, but we've seen some moments that Hudson has had to recover from.
I'm gonna
So
try
we'll
for him
hop
again
in
this
here.
lap.
He's using it a little bit. Is he going to try to make the move? He's dumping. He's got the
Gonna have it.
speed. Cody Lawrence in P2. He makes the move stick. And now Hudson's got to play catch up. 2 laps left. 3.8 second gap for Cody to think about winning the race. But he's got an anxious Red Bull driver behind him of Hudson Poole within DRS range, trying to take back P2. Other fights going along on the grid. The one Alfa Romeo driver who is in trouble is Eric Carvalho. There's a 4/10 gap between him and Aaron Altmaier, who's on those stretch. But I think 13 laps in, you may be at the crossover point, John. I mean,
Yeah.
this could just be a shootout.
I think both of them are in similar situations in regards to their tires. The hard tires at 16 laps are going to start to feel them a little bit. The 13 lap mediums are really struggling even more. And, you know, I really want to say kudos to Eric Cavallo. You know, the Alfa Romeo driver is currently sitting in P8. He's definitely going to be gaining an extra position, I believe, to
The chase.
well, no, he's actually. I thought maybe Cal Evans would drop down to P8, but no, Eric Cavallo would be. If the race finishes as is, he will not gain any more positions. But he gained 11 positions since the beginning of the race. He started at P19, so
Right.
great race for him.
Great race. You love to see it. We've struggled a little bit this weekend, so it's really good to see these D1 guys just carry the team on their backs, right? Great to have Era back as well. Hudson Poole trying to maintain that consistent gap to Cody Lawrence, but look, Cody's chopped 4/10 from the gap to Marc-Olivier Bastien, but we're on the penultimate lap. Hudson Poole may be trying to harvest some battery here, but I don't know how much he has. Cody's got 13%. Marc-Olivier Bastien has 22%. Hudson with 6. I'll try to salvage a podium. Luke Locklear is back in P4. Quietly with a nice recovery after the hell of a spin he had coming out of P4. That was a nasty one. Aaron Altmaier
Hudson
continuing
Poole's-
to put pressure. As Cam Bourne with another 3 seconds, that might drop him to like P11.
These penalties are hurting these drivers terribly, and across all divisions, right? We've seen drivers getting way too many penalties.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen drivers have as many as Luca Marurias, who's sitting at 19-second penalty. You know, being lapped. He's gonna go on he went on the soft to try to get the fastest lap. What an abysmal
19
race
is
for
a
that
lot.
driver.
19 is a lot as we see the gap to the leader shrink, but I just don't know if there's going to be enough time. Hudson Poole is seeing Cody Lawrence get a little bit further and further away as time goes on. Now the gap is 7/10 where it was. Oh, sorry, now it's a second. A little bit of maybe a moment coming out of turn 3. Right, a couple more battles going on. Aaron Altmaier still trying to put pressure on Eric Carvalho, but I think I'd rather have 18-lap-old hards than 15-lap-old mediums at this point. So
Yep.
I think Era has weathered the storm. A little bit of a midfield battle here. Cam Bourne, Duncan McCamick, and Eric Perez. Eric Perez, nice showing here. P10 for the Williams, although I think those penalties may put him down to maybe P14. We'll have
Indeed,
to
and
see.
I've heard that he was contact with one of Freddie's. I think Freddie's second spin was a contact with initiated by Eric Perez, so that might be a penalty for him after the race.
I want to go to our leader right now, Marc-Olivier Bastien, who I believe is going to not only be the first French-Canadian Division 1 rider in ZRL, but the first non-reserve Alfa Romeo driver to win a race. He's dumping his ERS. He's in P1 across the line, and he does it. Marc-Olivier Bastien wins.
What
P1.
a spectacular and dominant race by our
P1.
French Canadian. First
He
race
dominated.
for an Alfa Romeo win in Division 1 and the first win for a French Canadian in Division 1 as well. What a historical moment in ZRL right now.
It was great. He dominated the entire time. There was a battle between two of the fastest drivers I've ever seen behind him the entire race. Cody Lawrence picks up P2. Hudson Poole picks up P3. Luke Locklear, P4. A fantastic recovery after a huge incident. Maxime P5. Eric Carvalho up to P6 after the penalties. Great day for Alfa Romeo. Great day for Aston Martin as well. Aaron Altmaier picks up P7, Cal P8, Duncan P9 after penalties, and Chase Wilson down to P10 after a couple of track limits. But wow, that was crazy. And Eric Carvalho gets driver of the day. This has probably been the best race I've ever seen for Alfa Romeo as TP. Just been a pleasure to watch the clinic that Marc-Olivier Bastien put on in Portimao. And Eric Carvalho on the alternate strat. Let's watch this podium here.
I'm gonna already tag the boys for their podium interviews.
You'll love to see it. We'll have to confirm that, John. First French-Canadian winner in Division 1 ZRL.
Well, I sure didn't win when I was in Division 1.
but you've won races before, right? If you won D2, D3?
I've won. Was it? I think it was D2.
Yeah.
I won one D2 race in Singapore.
Now, aside from you two,
in Abu Dhabi, sorry.
Aside from you two, we've had more French Canadians though.
We've had Julien Pilon also in Division 1.
He may have won a race. He may, but not in Division 1.
Not yeah, no. So in Division 1, it would be the first French Canadian. And other divisions, we've had French Canadians win, notably myself and Pylon, who's currently down in Division 4. So that's definitely happened. Missed the old days where I would race against him in Division 2. Me and him had a tough championship battle there.
So save the race replay if you can. I rejoined the lobby, so I cannot save the race replay. But Marc-Olivier Bastien wins for Alfa Romeo. Cody Lawrence, Hudson Poole, Luke Locklear round out the Hudson Poole rounds out the podium. Luke Locklear, Maxime Beaulieu round out the top 5. Driver of the day, Eric Carvalho, up from P19 to P6. You'll love to see it. So let's head over to the interview screen here. John, I want to make sure I set this up right. Are you guys still good on audio? John, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm hearing, and I'm just gonna check real quick with.
Okay, I can see your. Yep, we're in the new interview screen here for ZRL. Some new graphics. Audio looks good. So hey man,
I'll bring in Hudson Poole.
Yeah, bring him in. Let's do it.
Let's go. Here he is.
Hey Hudson, how's it going, man?
It's not what I would want, I guess.
Yeah, I saw that, man. I thought, starting in qualifying, man, there was some chatter that you were poised to put in a 116.8, and I gotta say, I was probably expecting something similar to that for you. What kind of times were you putting in quali when you were practicing? Did you think that was that what you were aiming for, 116s?
Yeah, like 0.6 is what I was doing in practice. I get just too nervous. It happens to me every time. Voss had just insane pace today, and when I went with the undercut and I couldn't get into his DRS, I knew it was over. And ever since lap 22, I think I had to save fuel because I went negative, and I let Cody through. I think he was going to pass me either way, though, because he also had rapid pace. Just kind of shows me I really need to start practicing like a lot more than what I've been doing, because obviously all these drivers are getting so much faster.
Yeah, they're getting fast at an incredible rate, and this is certainly a tricky track.
Yeah,
definitely. And Hudson, you're still currently we'll see how. Actually, no. Technically, you should still be P1 in the Drivers' Championship, but as you said, you're gonna have to be practicing a lot more for the rest of the season. Obviously, the next stretch of races are much different than what we've had in the first 3 rounds. We're going to Azerbaijan, France, and then Monaco's coming up as well. How do you feel about these upcoming races?
They're all bad except for Monaco. France is probably my least favorite track, along with Portimao, and then what was the other one?
Baku.
We're racing in Baku next week, yeah.
Baku's, it's there. I don't know. I wouldn't really rate it good or bad. It's just kind of one of those tracks.
Yeah, I think Baku's too. It's one of those where safety cars are plenty, and then safety cars breed safety cars, right? And God forbid you have any type of wet weather too. Hudson, last question too. You guys were probably the only fully dry session of all the races this weekend. Did you guys do a lot of like intermediate wet weather practice as well, and then kind of prep for the conditions here?
No, we didn't do any wet practice. We did on Thursday a 50% dry quali dry race practice, and that was about it.
So after one session, man, you guys did great. So congrats on the P3. Really hard fought today. Yeah, we'll probably see you next week.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you, Hudson. Our P2 finisher, Cody Lawrence.
Hello.
Oh, Cody, how's it going, man? Great race, dude.
I want a position more in the end, I'll be honest with you. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
so we were talking a lot about the overcut strategy you had uh, during the race, right? So you pitted the hards at what, lap 20 or lap 21? For a hot second, I thought you were considering trying to go hard soft. And, you know, to be fair, we were kind of thinking that the overcut was not the strategic decision, but it turned out to. You had so much more tire life at the end of that race. So, a two-part question, I guess. Did you ever think about going hard soft? And was overcut always the play? Or did you do that because of how the race was turning out?
I didn't think hard soft because I didn't have a fresh set of soft. Almost did, but I didn't quite get through Q1 the way I wanted to. So, no, I didn't. I didn't have a fresh set of softs. So I couldn't really do it. Yeah, I think overcut was the play. Once I was P4 after the start phase, I was just like, okay, probably gonna have a hard time getting overtakes done here because I think I had lower wings than everyone around me, so it was really difficult to follow. If I didn't get a good run on somebody, it was gonna be difficult. But yeah, kind of overcut was the play, and then hoping for like a VSC or a safety car because the pit lane around here is pretty short under safety car or VSC. But yeah, I think partly it came down to how the race played out, and partly was thinking, okay, my best chance to kind of get something out of this is to go along. But wanted to win position more, but Mark did a fantastic job, completely dominant start to finish. Well done to him. I can't say a word bad about it because he did fantastic. Congrats to him on the win, honestly.
Yeah, very, very much class of you to be saying that, Cody. Last time we spoke, it was at the end of last season where you had a spectacular performance, and we're wondering if you're coming back or not. And in the end, you're reserving for Jeffrey Lawler here this weekend. Do you still have an active role in Ferrari, or was that just a one-time thing? And whenever you'll be needed, you'll go to any team?
One-time thing. Unfortunately, you can't have a role with any team as a reserve, really. Now, but not the point of what I wanted to say, of course. But yeah, I mean, hired gun, is that a fair thing to say?
Absolutely.
We'll take that.
I wouldn't say that
A
quite.
hired
But
big gun, I'll call it that for a P2.
one spot more though. True hired gun would have won that, but yeah, I mean, Mark just did a fantastic job at the end there, and I can't say a word bad. He's underrated. People look out for him. He's a very good driver.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Rate him.
It was incredible to watch. We'll hear from him in a moment too. So, Cody, I'm not sure if you're thinking about reserving in the next few weeks, but any chance we see you in Baku and France and Monaco? Do you like any of those tracks?
As a Checo fan, I'm obliged to really like Baku, but it's not a track I'm very strong at. France, I enjoy, but I don't know. And then Monaco, maybe. We'll see in the new year, but we'll see. I mean, I kind of enjoy coming in, coming out when I want to. Like, I really love Portugal. It's probably one of my top 5 favorite tracks in the world, Portimao. It's I wanted to enjoy that one. I guess on some level I did, but yeah, just a little bit more I need to find, and maybe that next time I'll find it. But I'm not quite here today.
Well, dude,
I
look,
got what I
man,
got, though.
we enjoyed watching you on track. Thanks for everything, man. Well, maybe we'll see you in a couple weeks. We'll see. But congrats, man. Great showing, man. P2.
Thank you. Appreciate both of you. Thank you for streaming these.
Thank you, Cody.
Giving us we try to put on a show for you at least.
It was
Sure
a show
do.
today. Yes, it was.
But yeah, you two take care. Thanks for
Thank you,
having me.
Cody.
See ya.
I'm bringing in your race winner, Marc-Olivier Bastien. I'm going to do a little bit of an intro for you for Buffalo before his first question.
Go.
First Alfa Romeo race winner in Division 1 and first French-Canadian race winner in ZRL Division 1.
Bark, dude, you put on an absolute clint. That was so fun to watch. And I didn't want to. I was so afraid of giving you broadcaster's curse. I didn't give you the coverage you deserved, man. You killed it today. What were you thinking out there?
Yeah, that's a good thing. You don't show me, no mistake, easy win.
Yes, yes,
That's
love
the way. No, but yeah, actually, it was probably my best race ever. I did almost no mistake, even in qualifying the race. Everything went smooth. I was able to break DRS kind of early in the race. No safety car, no nothing. It was a great day for me.
Everything went exactly as planned. Is that going to be the plan for the next stretch of, we'll say, the next 3 races? We've been talking with your other fellow drivers about next week being Baku and followed by France and then another full qualifier in Monaco. What are your thoughts about those next 3 races coming up for you?
I can't wait for Baku. Really like Baku. I never did France this year, and Monaco is hit or miss. But yeah, I can't wait for Baku. I hope it's gonna be the same as today. We had luck on our side today, and no safety car, like I said. Everything went smooth. I hope Baku and France will go the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some things did work in your favor, but I think that you and Era running separate strategies. Era came from P19 to finish P6. You with P1 in quali, P1 the entire time. I just think that you guys as a team were just picture perfect today. It was awesome to watch. It was awesome for me as part of the Alfa Romeo team to see it. Um, Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait for you guys to put it together next week as well. Maybe get both you all on the podium. Um, that was really cool. Good job.
Yeah, we were both in the call. I think he was kind of unlucky in Q1 because he had so much more pace. But we were able to see it in the race. If he was lucky, I think it could have been a double podium for us. But maybe next week.
Yeah, maybe next week. Um, John, I'm good. Yeah, any last words for you two French Canadian guys rocking in ZRL?
One single word. Félicitations, Marc.
Ah, merci.
Yeah, Mark, thank you so much, man. Hopefully we'll see you here next week. Um, John, this is the best race of the year, I think, and I'm not
Yeah,
biased at all.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you for the interview, Marc Olivier, and that was a really spectacular race. Again, I think this season Division One has been, the pinnacle of the ZRL weekends. Nothing against the other divisions, despite me being in Division 3 and all, but Division 1 shows it really showcases where the league is at and where the league has grown in the past couple seasons. I've been here since season 2, I think, and
Mhm.
Guys like Hudson Poole, we saw Hudson Poole come in the league and we thought, oh, there's nobody that's going to be faster than him. And then suddenly Hudson Poole is telling us he needs to practice more because other drivers coming in are faster than him. Where is this ever going to end? I hope it doesn't end because that's the beauty of the sport. I can't wait for Baku next week.
I can't wait either, right? I can't wait to broadcast with you, and that's what this league is about, right? It's getting together in environments where we have most of the time very clean, very high level racing, where everybody's getting better. We're all improving each other, um, and it's just really fun to experience it. So, John, next week Baku, I'll see you back in the booth. I can't wait.
And I might see you on track if you have to reserve.
Yeah, we'll see if I have to reserve again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, Baku, same time, same place. We'll see you then.
Have a good night, everyone.